Welcome to a new video. 1000 subscribe please. In a remote village deep in the jungle, the legend of the Buendía family begins, a tale of isolation, love, and wars where reality blends seamlessly with fantasy in an epic literary masterpiece. 100 Years of Solitude is not just a novel, it's a profound journey into the human soul, where mistakes are repeated, time loops endlessly, and solitude remains the shared destiny of all its characters. 100 Years of Solitude, the masterpiece of Gabriel García Márquez. 100 Years of Solitude, Cien Años de Soledad, is not merely a novel narrating the story of the Buendía family in the village of Macondo, but a literary epic that embodies human history and poses profound philosophical questions about isolation, time, and identity. Published in 1967, this novel has become one of the pillars of world literature, redefining the concept of the novel through its blend of reality and fantasy in what is known as magical realism. A more detailed account of the novel's events. 1. The founding of Macondo. The novel begins with the flight of José Arcadio Buendía and his wife, Ursula Iguaran, from their original village after José commits a murder in a fit of rage. Following a long journey through the jungle, they settle in a remote area and decide to establish the village of Macondo, a utopian settlement in its early days, but one that soon becomes a symbol of isolation and stagnation. José Arcadio Buendía, a character driven by intellect and ambition, José becomes consumed by a desire for discovery. His fascination with the inventions brought by the gypsy Melquiades, such as magnets and telescopes, leads him to dream of revolutionizing human life, though his obsessions gradually disconnect him from reality. Ursula Iguaran, the backbone of the family, Ursula represents wisdom and resilience. Despite the tribulations of time and conflict, she remains dedicated to maintaining the family's stability. 2. Life in Macondo. In the early generations, Macondo seems like a promising place. Its inhabitants live in relative harmony, and the village prospers under the leadership of its founders. Over time, however, Macondo becomes a stage for political, social, and familial conflicts, reflecting the complexities of human nature. The Civil War and its effects. Colonel Aureliano Buendía, one of José's descendants, becomes a leader in a series of civil wars. Despite fighting 32 wars, he wins none of them, symbolizing the futility of war and its destructive impact. Social upheavals. Macondo experiences phases of exploitation and oppression, most notably with the arrival of the American Banana Company, which strips locals of their rights and culminates in a brutal massacre. 3. Generational tragedies. Each new generation of the Buendía family repeats the mistakes of the previous one, emphasizing the idea that humans are trapped in an inescapable cycle of fate. Tragic love and forbidden relationships. Love in the novel is often destructive and irrational. For instance, the relationship between Arcadio and his adoptive mother, or Remedios Moscote's marriage to a much younger man. Remedios the Beauty. A unique character in the story, Remedios lives in a state of innocence and purity until she physically ascends to heaven in a scene that embodies the novel's magical realism. Amaranta. A symbol of solitude and regret, Amaranta spends her life in isolation, weaving her own burial shroud and awaiting death with acceptance and calm. 4. The tragic end of the Buendía family. In the end, the last generation of the Buendía family culminates with the birth of a deformed child as a result of incest, highlighting the disastrous consequences of isolation and insularity. The child dies shortly after birth, bringing the Buendía lineage to an end. The storm that erases Macondo, Following the child's death, a devastating storm engulfs the village, wiping it entirely from existence. This storm symbolizes the inevitability of destruction and the ultimate fate of isolation. Key elements of the novel. 1. Magical realism. The novel serves as a quintessential example of this literary style, seamlessly blending reality with fantasy. Key moments include the return of Melquiades as a ghost to guide the family, the physical ascension of Remedios the beauty to the heavens, the rainstorm that lasts for 4 years and 11 months. 2. Time and circularity. The novel presents a unique view of time, where it is not linear but circular. Mistakes are repeated, and the family faces the same destiny in every generation. This is emphasized through the recurring use of names like Arcadio and Orleano, highlighting the parallels between generations. 3. Isolation as a shared fate. Isolation is not just an emotion but a destiny that haunts every member of the family. Whether it is psychological, like Amaranta, emotional, like Orleano, or geographical, Macondo itself, it ultimately leads to demise. Symbolism in the novel. 1. Macondo. The village is more than just a setting, it is a symbol of the world that humans create and ultimately destroy with their own hands. Initially a utopia, Macondo devolves into a symbol of corruption and isolation. 2. The characters. Each character carries symbolic significance. For example, Jose Arcadio represents ambition and innovation that ends in failure. Ursula embodies wisdom and balance, though she is powerless to stop the family's inevitable decline. Remedios the beauty symbolizes purity and innocence, untouched by the human condition. 3. The manuscript. The manuscript left by Melquiades reflects the idea that human destiny is preordained and unchangeable. Its final reading reveals the harrowing truth that the family was doomed to extinction from the very beginning. Lessons from the novel. History repeats itself. The novel encourages readers to reflect on the recurring nature of human mistakes. Isolation is destructive. Separation from the world and human connections leads to eventual annihilation. Reality and fantasy are intertwined. The novel shows that the world is full of wonders that defy rational explanation. The novel's significance in world literature. 100 Years of Solitude is a landmark in world literature, and a key reason Gabriel García Márquez was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1982. The novel is not merely the story of the Buendía family, but a philosophical and social examination of human life in all its contradictions. Today, the novel is studied in universities worldwide and continues to inspire writers and readers from various cultures. 100 Years of Solitude is more than just a literary work. It is an intellectual and human experience that demands immersion to fully grasp its depths and hidden messages. As the storm sweeps through the village of Macondo, erasing it along with the last traces of the Buendía family, it leaves behind an eternal lesson about isolation and detachment from the world. With unparalleled vision, Gabriel García Márquez redefines the essence of human life, contradictions, and destiny in a novel that has become a cornerstone of world literature.